Let's have a look at GLAZE, the latest member of the Play series by Native Instruments. And now, if you don't know, the Play series is a series of contact libraries. They are pretty simple. We have two layers, layer A, B. We balance between them. But if you want more control over the sound, you got it. We have engines, we have macros, we have effects, we have sequencer, and a lot of other things that we can do to shape the sound. So in this video, I'm going to show you how to use GLAZE. I'm going to give you a lot of sound demos. Before that, if you're not subscribed to my channel, please consider subscribing. Of course, like the video if you like it, and leave comments if you have any questions or anything at all, and I'll get back to you as quickly as I can. Let's get started. So this is GLAZE, part of the Play series by Native Instruments, and let me show you the user interface real quick, then we'll do sound demos, and finally, if you still have some spare time, stay with me for the deep dive. Let's get started. So as you can see, we have two layers. We have layer A, we have layer B, and on the bottom we have the controls for the macros, but we also have balance and we have the volume. Now, if you click the A or the B, you'll be just muting them, okay, either or both of them. And then if you click the title, we'll get to the browser. And here, this is where we actually select the samples for A and for the B layers. So I can just take something else for A, and now this A is set here, and going for B, selecting something else. So it sounds different, but still very similar to the previous preset. That's because we just changed the samples. We didn't change anything else in the engine or in the settings. So you can start with whatever preset and then go from there and change maybe the macros or change the sound or just the presets for the A and B layers. So let's go back to the main view. So this is the main view, and then on the top we have sound, FX, sequencer, that's sec, and macros and settings. So if you go to the sound, you'll see that we have just a sound engine here for A and for B, and I'll be going into that later in the deep dive. Then we have effects, where we have 6 different effects chain here, so you can just drag and drop them, and we have the EQ for A, B, and the controls. For each of the slots here, we have a drop down, and we'll do a deep dive again later. Next, we have the sequencer. Now, it's not a simple sequencer. It's not just for the pitch and velocity. We actually can use this sequencer to affect the macros 1, 2, 3, and 4, 5, and 6. So you can actually move them or modulate the macros with this sequencer. Then we have the macros. This is where you see the assignment of each of these macros. And finally, we have some global settings. And again, you can see the samples that are loaded for A, B, and we also have the key ranges here. This is pretty cool. So we can have layer A triggered by parts of the keyboard and the layer B by other parts, and then you can split the keyboard. Pretty cool. So now let's go back to the main view, and now I'm going to give you some sound demos. Let's just go through some of the presets, and then again, if you still have free time, stay with me for the deep dive. Let's go for plucks. Cool. Let's go for the sequenced or looped. This is gonna be nice. Let's go for melodic. Guys, this is really cool. I mean, the other Play series libraries don't have that. And you can see that we have the color coding here on the keyboard. I have complete control, so everything is mapped, and you can see the yellow and the blue lights here. So this is the split keyboard that we were talking about. So guys, this is really cool, really loving it. So just let me know in the comments if you want me to do, I don't know, maybe going through all the presets in a separate video. I can do that. If we have more people that want that, I'll do it. Let's go and get something else. Let's go for the tempo sync. Not sure what that is. Yeah, we saw that in the sequenced. Never mind. Let's try some others. Cool. Let's go for the vocals. Let's go and just try some of them. Cool, let's do the deep dive now. So if you want to learn more about this and other Play series libraries, stick around, we'll do the deep dive. So again, this is the main view. This is where you see the A and the B and the macros. But if you go to sound, then we have the two engines. So what we've got here is, first of all, we have layer A and B, and we can turn them on and off. And we have transposing, we have tuning, we have panning, volume. Then we have bit reduction, bit crusher, we have noise, we have color. Right, and we can play with that. Now you see those dots here, these are just assignment of the macros, and you can see that this source here, this is already mapped to the bit reduction and the bit crusher, the sample rate reduction and the bit crusher. And we also have a filter here, and you can see that this this filter has resonance, and the resonance is mapped here. And so that's pretty nice, very easy to navigate. And in this engine, we also have some modulations. So if you're new to synthesizer or synthesis or all these things that operates behind the scenes when you select a preset, then I'm going to show you some stuff, but I'm not going very deep. If you want to learn more, check my channel for the synthesis basics course that I have. I have about 4 different four lessons, but I also have a lot of sound design demos. So going from nothing to sound, just in different synthesizers. So check it out. So we have 2 LFOs, and these LFOs can move things in a certain rate. Then we have 2 envelopes. We have the mod envelope and we have the amp envelope, and we can assign each of them. And we can also assign the velocity, aftertouch, and the mod wheel. So let me show you how the LFO works. Now I'm just selecting the LFO, and now you see those sliders just beside some of the things here. So what you're going to do is, for example, we can do this, and now the panner will go left right according to LFO 1. And I can do the same for example, for the reduction here, or for the noise, no, and not for the color. Right, so that's the idea here, and I can take LFO2. Let's select LFO2, and now we have different sliders. So each time you select those modulations, you'll get new assignments of those sliders. So I can have, for example, the tuning. And again, you can select different waveforms. Just click and drag up and down. You get different shapes, and we have the rate, and we can lock it to just lock it to parts or free, whatever you want. And we have fade in. So that's the idea here. Then we also have the let's go for the mod wheel. So again, I can use this to do stuff like, for example, change the filter cutoff. Right, so that's pretty cool, and you can do a lot of other stuff. So this is the engine, this is the sound engine. Now let's go for the effects. So here in the effects we have 6 different slots, and we can just drag and drop and rearrange. They go from left to right. This is the flow, and we have EQ for the A layer, EQ for the B layer. Very simple stuff, but for each of these slots we have a drop down, and we can select the different effects. So let's try something. Right, so this is pretty simple. All you need to do is just select that particular effect and change the parameters. So that's the idea here. Next, we have the sequencer, and the sequencer is pretty simple. We have 4 tabs here. So the first one is pitch, velocity. That's the overall sound, pitch and velocity. But we also have the macros. We have the next tab here for 1 and 2, 3 and 4, and then finally 5 and 6. So the way it works, you have the pitch and we have the velocity. If we just go with the velocity, let's turn it on and play something. Right, and we have the rate, we have swing, we have the first step here, we have the root key, we have scales. That's pretty cool. And if you change the pitch here, and then we can lock this to be global. And then we have some other stuff, like for example, layer routing, A, B, none, just A, just B. We have number of steps, okay? And we have the direction. We can go, you know, back and forth. And we also have a gate. Right, and the same idea goes for the macros. So if we click this, you will see the macros. We have the cutoff and the resonance first, then we have the phaser and reverb. So for example, what I can do is go and add more reverb as we go. So that's the idea in the phaser, and you can play with that. And then we have reverb size, just going more, and sauce. All right, so that's the idea behind the macros, and you can play with that. Pretty simple, but you need to know what you're doing, but it's a lot of fun. Then finally we have the macros here. So the macros here in this view are just about showing you what are the assignments. So for each of these macros here, and you can name them differently. You can just double click and change the names. But what you can do is to program them. So the idea is very simple. Let's go back to sound, and I'm going to select a different preset. All right, so that's the preset we have. And now you can see that different controls will have these little dots beside them, and that is the assignment of those macros. So if I want the first one, doesn't matter that it says cutoff, because you can actually go and find the init preset and you'll have, you know, everything is blank. We can have this first one assigned not just for the cutoff, we can set it, for example, also for the resonance. So I'm going to click this light here. It's going to flicker, and I'm going to just select resonance, and now I can set the range. So that's pretty easy. And same goes for anything else. So I can see that this one is assigned to the phaser. So let's go and see where that is. So I see that this is the phaser and the wet. So this is what it is. So that's that orange thing here. So I'm going to click that, and I'm going to click this as well. So now the phaser is doing both the wet and adding also the phase. So that's the idea here, pretty simple. And finally, I mean, the very last thing that you can, you want to know here, it's the global settings here. So again, we have A, we have B layers, and we have the velocity curve, but we also have the key ranges. So this is where you set the low key and the high key for each of the layers. So I can just, for example, say, okay, layer A will be from C-2 to, let's say, somewhere here. Let's see, yeah. All right, so that goes to B2, and then layer B will start somewhere else. And now I've split my, now I have my keyboard split between those two layers. But I can have some overlap area, so that's again pretty easy. I can have them overlap here in the middle. And that's it. So that's just about what I wanted to show you. So I hope you enjoyed this one. And again, if you want to learn more about synthesis, synthesizer, the Play series, check my channel because I cover all of the Play series already, at least what we have so far. And if they will issue another one, no problem, I will cover that as well. So I'll see you in the next videos. Of course, subscribe and like, and that's it. Bye-bye.